Good evening, everybody. Hi. Hope Purim was happy. I don't know what's going on. I don't succeed in connecting to the Shiur. Just now I succeeded, but till now it said again and again that I'm waiting for the host. I'm supposed to be the host, so I don't understand what's going on. In any case, we'll record it now. And if you appear in the middle of the show, very nice. If not, so you'll hear just the recording. I simply don't know what's going on. I tried with two computers, and it's not a matter of the computer. It's something in the program. I have no idea. Okay, never mind. Let's start. We're in a new Sefer. We started a week ago on Parashat Vayikra, but then we discussed Parashat Zachor and the things of Shmuel Perek Tetvav, etc. And now we have a first time attempt to understand the Korbanot. We know that we have the chapters of Parashat Vayikra and the chapters of Parashat Tzav are divided into very specific. Each parak has his own topic. One discussing Shlamim, one discussing Mincha, one discussing Gasham, and the order, the seder, is different in Parashat Tzav and Parashat Vayikra. So I won't discuss this. I'll try to discuss just Torat Shlamim. Pay attention, if you look at Perek Zayin, you see, וזאת תורת האשם, קודש קודשים הוא. Okay, so you have a very small and narrow title of 3 words, וזאת תורת האשם, נקודתיים, קודש קודשים הוא. Asham is Kodesh Kodashim. What does it mean, Kodesh Kodashim? We'll speak at length later. במקום אשר ישחטו את העולה, ישחטו את האשם. So if I go backwards, I see וזאת תורת המנחה, narrow title, וזאת תורת העולה, זאת תורת החטאת, okay? And זאת תורת המנחה, וזאת תורת העולה. Okay, so you have all the titles are the same 3 words, and we know what we do here in the Olah. We know what we do here in the Mincha. We know what to do in the Chatat. And as I said again, you see Kodesh Kodashim Ki. Now we go to Perek Zayin. We can continue. Zot Torat HaOsham. It's a 4th Korban mentioned in this parsha after Olah, after Mincha, and after Chatat. We have, Asham is the 4th, Kodesh Kodashim Hu, and the Torah says, במקום אשר ישחטו את העולה, ישחטו את האשם, ואת דמו יזרוק על המזבח סביב, and it's very common, famous, that the difference between Parashat Vayikra and Parashat Tzav is that Parashat Vayikra mainly discusses where you do it, okay, the dinim, the external dinim of it, and when you have to do it, and Parashat Tzav discuss more the flesh, the basar, what you do, ואת שתי הכליות, ואת החלב אשר עליהן, והקטיר אותם, okay, how do you do it exactly, בסדר. And now we are going to discuss a 5th Korban of Parashat Tzav, which is Zevach HaShlamim. So we would like to see וזאת תורת השלמים, as we saw, וזאת תורת העולה, וזאת תורת החטאת, וזאת תורת המנחה, וזאת תורת האשם. 4 times we saw just 3 words, וזאת תורת, and the name of the Korban. But here we see וזאת תורת זבח השלמים, אשר יקריב להשם. It's true and נכון, right, in any case, וזאת תורת האשם אשר יקריב להשם, וזאת תורת המנחה אשר יקריב להשם. Why didn't the Torah use the words אשר יקריב להשם by then, and just here? Okay, that's a first question. Pay attention to the length of Parashat Shlamim. From here till here, you see a lot of at least 24 psukim. We'll see that it's actually 44 psukim discussing just the Shlomim. If you see Asham, here you can see 10 psukim. If you see Olah, you'll see a little bit more. If you see Mincha, you'll see less than that. If you see Chatat in the former Perek and Perek Vav, you'll see less than that. And here we actually have much more space for the same thing. Okay, we don't understand why we have that. We don't understand why we have this parsha. Okay, now I just saw that Mr. Posner told me that the problem was that the link was the old one and not the new one. So I'm happy that I don't have any problem with the Tochna, just with the link. Okay, so it's okay. You'll see it, as we said today, recorded. Next week we'll meet Bezrat Hashem face to face. Oh, Nora. Okay, so let's go back. I stopped for 2 seconds to see, but let's go to Parashat Vayikra again. Okay, I have Vayikra Perek Zayin, and here it is. You see a lot of psukim discussing just Torat Zevach HaShlamim. And it's very, very interesting because, as I said, in the 4 former parashas, you see just very few psukim, narrow title, and here you see Vezot Torat Zevach HaShlamim Asher Yaktir LaHashem. Okay? We must say that there is a difference between Parashat Shlamim and the other 4 Korban. And you know that there are 2 differences. The first one, that the Zman Achila of Shlamim, in all the Korbanot, we have just 1 day and 1 night. You remember that unlike the day that we're used to by the Haloche, by the Mikra, so basically the day of Am Yisrael starts from the night, okay? Purim started from Sunday evening, Motzei Shabbos is Sunday, Erev Shabbat is not Friday, Saturday, Shabbat, whatever. So we're used to Vayhi Erev Vayboker, the form that a day, 24 hours, starts with its night. But in the Mikdash, it's different. The famous Makne in Kiddushin says it explicitly, but we don't need the Makne. We can see it just from the halachas of the Mikdash. The day starts early. We know it from the Mishnayos that we have Trumat HaDeshen, if not Boker. And then we have the Korban HaTamid starting the day, Tamid Shel Shachar. And the Mishnah discusses it very nicely how it is they come when it's night, when it's dark, when it's cold, and they open the gates of Beit HaMikdash, and then the Kohen they make the Agrala, the lottery to choose who are the Kohanim that will be the happy Kohanim for the day to do it. And then we have Tamid Shel Shachar, we have all the avodas, and then ending the day we have Tamid Shel Ben Arbaim. So the day of the Mikra, of the Bible, of the Jewish people, starts at night, whereas the day of the Mikdash, the day of the Korbanot, starts in the morning. And in most of the Korbanot, we have just 1 day and 1 night. If you brought the Asham at 10 o'clock in the morning, the Kohen would finish it 10:30. So you have time to eat it till dawn, and then from dawn you have all the night to eat it. Okay. If you don't eat it, so it has as a din of notar. It's unaccepted, lo mekubal. You cannot do it. It's a lav, it's an isur, and it's notar. And by notar, by esh tisrof, we have to burn it all. That's with most of the korbanot. But in Torat Zevach HaShlamim, we have something very interesting, actually very similar to Purim. We'll speak why. because in Zevach HaShlamim we know that we have 2 days and 1 night. Let's say that you brought it today, Tuesday, so you have Tuesday all till dawn. You have all the night of Tuesday and you have all the day of Wednesday. Just if till tomorrow evening you don't have time to eat it, so then it becomes notar. Why do I say that it's similar to Purim? Because on Purim we have very similar thing. On the contrary, maybe we see that Purim starts like every Chag from the night. Okay, we read the Megillah on Sunday night, and then Monday morning we read the Megillah again. But the Seudah, a lot of people do it early. A lot of people do it samuch la'erev. The Trumat HaDeshen brings a minhag that most of the Suda is being done on the next day, on the night, on the day of Tuesday in this year. And he says, no, it's not good because the day it belongs to Purim, and later on, velo ya'avor, you cannot do it. So he says it has to be early. And the Rama in Ilchot Purim says, right, you have to do the Suda, most of it during the day. But somehow, the minhag, a lot of Am Yisrael do, you see it even in Trumat HaDeshen, he negates the minhag, but he brings the minhag to do it on Samuch LaErev. And then you have a long, and if you have come to a Shchuna Charedit on Purim, you know that most of the drunkards are not the night before, or the night after. Okay, so you have 2 nights and 1 day for Purim, and it's interesting why it's like this, because the Trumat HaDeshen, the Rama, as I mentioned, said explicitly not like this. They said don't do it like this. Do it just in the midday. It's a Suda, but Minhag Israel is to make it Samuch LaErev, and several Achronim discuss it why it's like this. The Mikrai Kodesh of Rav Frank in Siman Mem Gimel brings several answers. He brings Meshech Chochma, who says that it was done because of why do we have Yudalet and Tetvav? It was done just because of the menucha of the milchama, which was on Yud Gimel and Yudalet, and since the menucha started Yudalet morning, okay, because a war was started the day of Yud Gimel, and apparently the war didn't start 5 o'clock at dawn. Okay, they said goodbye, we're going to sleep. Okay, the worst went into the night, and somewhere in the night it stopped. So it's according to Umot HaOlam. The menucha, the rest from the war, is Yudalet, and from the morning till dawn, and then to the night. And in Shushan Abira, where Esther asked Achashverosh to bring her another day, to give her another opportunity to kill the enemies of Am Yisrael. So they killed on Yudalet, and apparently it happened to be Yudalet and it's night, and therefore the menucha, the rest from Yudalet and Tetvav, which is a celebration of Tetvav, that's why we do it at midday and night. Okay, so we have these teruts of the Meshech Chochma, and the Chatam Sofer says something differently. Doesn't matter, but we have again a sandwich, 2 nights and 1 day in the middle. And let's go back to Shlamim. We see 2 days and 1 night in the middle. So that's the exception in Shlamim that we don't see in other Korbanot. Shlamim, as you know, is the most wide. You have the most time that you have to eat a Korban, 2 days and 1 night. So the length of eating is different between Shlamim and the other Korbanot. But as I mentioned, another difference between Shlamim and the other Korbanot, the other 4 Korbanot, is the length the Torah talks about. Because if you looked at Perek Vav, you saw that Perek Vav concludes 3 Korbanot. Okay, it concludes Olah, it concludes Mincha, it concludes Chatat. It includes Olah, Mincha, and Chatat. And here you see a lot, like 24 to 44 psukim discussing just Korban Shlamim. So we have to understand why its length. Okay. Why is it length so long? Because we have the second chelek here, that the Torah says, והנפש אשר תאכל בשר מזבח השלמים אשר להשם וטומאתו עליו, if you occur to eat it and you are a tame, ונכרתה הנפש ההיא מהמאה. So you have a punishment of a karet. It's a very chomer isur to eat זבח שלמים while you're tame. ונפש, כי תיגע בכל טמא, אוקיי? בטומאת אדם, או בבהמה טמאה, או בכל שקץ טמא, ואכל מבשר זבח השלמים, again, אשר להשם, ונכרתה הנפש ההיא מהמאה. And even before, והבשר, י"ט, אשר ייגע בכל טמא, לא יאכל באש ישרף, והבשר כל טהור יאכל בשר. So again and again and again and again, you have the טומאה and טהרה. And that's why the parsha of Shlomim is longer than the other parashot, because in Chatat, in Olah, in Mincha, it's Kodesh Kodoshim, which means that it's the Kohanim, and the Kohanim deal with it, and they know how to be Teorim. Not only that they know, they have a problem of Tahara in entering the Mikdash. So if they are Teorim, and they can get accepted into the Mikdash, they have no problem in being makriv in the korbanot. But you, the bailim, the foreigner, the non-Kohen, the zar, the bailim, okay, by bringing shlamim, you are not metzuve to work in the mikdash. Therefore, you don't have to be tahor, and maybe you have a problem that you think that you're able to bring a korban when you are not tomeh, when you are tomeh. That's why the parasha repeats again and again that you should be toho. Okay, so the kohanim eat the rest of the korbanot. They eat it in chatzar oil moed. Okay, and they have no. They're not afraid of being tomeh because they know the dinim. But you have a problem. That's why you don't. You have to be cautious, and that's why the Torah repeats again and again. So we see here two differences. One is that Torah Zevach Hashlamim is longer in the term of eating. You should eat it 2 days and 1 night, and the length of talking, how the Torah describes Torah Zevach Hashlamim is much longer because it doesn't discuss Kohanim but Israelis. But the third difference is very interesting because as we saw before, Zot Torah Hasham, Kodesh Kodashim. וזאת תורת העולה, we saw in Perek Vav, Kodesh Kodashim, he. You would expect that by talking about Shlomim, and we know that Shlamim is Kodashim Kalim, meaning to say that you are permitted to eat most of the basar, of the flesh of the korban. You just have to bring Hashem several emurim, and then it's matir, you can eat the rest. By Hashem, almost everything is eaten by Kadosh Baruch Hu or the Kohanim. By Olah the same, but in Zevach Shlamim, it's for you. It's for you. And we know that during the time of the Mikdash, or the Mishkan, Am Yisrael used, when they wanted to eat basar, to eat flesh, they brought the animal as a shlomim to the Mishkan, and they got 90% back, and they ate it. Okay, so that was the way to eat basar. Okay, if they wanted to eat basar bakar, that's what they did. Okay, so it's very interesting that looking at Parashat Shlamim, you don't see at all any mention of it being Kodashim Kalim. I would expect to see Vezot Torat Shlamim, Kodashim Kalim him, but it's never mentioned. What else do we see? We see, as we saw, not that the title is wider, is longer. אשר יקריב להשם. אם על תודה יקריבנו. יקריב קורבנו. ויקריב ממנו אחד מכל קורבן. ביום קורבנו יאכל, כן? So we see again, זבח קורבנו. We see a lot of times mentioning that he is makriv, the person is makriv, you are the makriv. And בעצם, till the Mishnah in מסכת Zvachim, פרק ה', we don't find anywhere that shlamim is kodashim kalim. If I would like to compare it, I would go to Parashat Kedoshim, and in Parashat Kedoshim we have a lot of mitzvot. It's Perek Yutet. If I go to Perek Yutet Pasuk Hey, so the Torah discuss וכי תזבחו זבח שלמים להשם, לרצונכם תזבחו, ביום זבחכם יאכל יום המחרת. So again we have the 2 days, והנותר עד יום השלישי באש יישרף, ואם האכול יאכל ביום השלישי פיגול או לא ירצה. So we have again and again the first difference that we saw, 2 days and 1 night, but ואוכליו עוונו יישא, if you eat, it's you should be punished. Why? כי את קודש השם חילם. That's what is missing in our parasha. We will never see that it's a kodesh. We saw many times that Asham is Kodesh Kodoshim, that Olah is Kodesh Kodoshim, that Chatat is Kodesh Kodoshim. But we don't see that Shlamim is not Kodesh Kodoshim, is Kodeshim Kolim. And we saw in Perek Yutet just now another mentioning of Shlamim, and there we saw that it's Kodesh. So Ke'ilu, if you read the parasha here, it seems as if Korban Shlamim is not Kadosh at all. There is no half Kedusha of Kodashim Kalim, as the Mishnah says, as again in Zvachim. According to Pshat HaKatuv, Zvachim, Zevach HaShlamim, lo Kadosh Bichlal. And that's why the repetition of Asher Yakriv, Asher Yakriv, Asher Yakriv, Yakrivenu, Zevach Korbano, the person Ke'ilu brings his own Korban. And there is a very nice example that I've heard from Yoni Grossman, Professor Yoni Grossman. He says, you invite 2 people to the Suda, okay? And Sudat Shabbat. The first one comes 5 minutes before Shabbat and brings you some dish to your kitchen. So it's a matana, it's a present. It's very clear that the kinyan of the chefetz doesn't belong any longer to the guest, and he was bequeathing, makne oto, okay, to the person that is a host. From now on, it's yours. You can use it. You can give it as a present to other person. I don't mind. I have given you it as a present. But the second person, he comes 5 minutes before Shabbat, but he doesn't bring you any dish. He brings you a bottle of wine. And he says, you know, it's very, as a matter of manners, you put it on the table and you open it in the Suda. Basically, they both brought you presents, but the first one brought you a real present. The second one didn't bring you a present. He brought you something that you share. He shares with you. I don't know if he gets angry at you in the middle of the Suda, he might say that it's his, and he's right, because he has never given it away. It's his bottle. But he shares it with you because you're the host, and he wants to show his satisfaction, his gratitude, whatever, that he came to the Suda, and therefore he shares the bottle with you. The first guess is like Chatat, is like Allah, is like Asham. He's a person that brings a Kadosh Baruch Hu because he owes him something. He has made a sin, or he has reasons to bring Asham, etc. And therefore he brings something as a present. And then it's Kodesh Kodashim. What does Kodesh mean? The word Kodesh is a famous Tosfot of beginning of Masechet Kedushin says that Kodesh is to take away from the world. He says that Isha Mekudeshet means that this Isha is asur to anybody else in the world. Okay? She's just mufkat from all the world. Now, I don't say that she belongs to me. That will be the other step of Nisuin. But in Kiddushin, she is mufkat from all the world. She is taken from all the world. What does it mean? של נעליך מעל רגליך, כי המקום אשר אתה עומד עליו, אדמת קודש הוא. Is it holy? Can אדמה be holy? We know that אדמה is not מקבל טומאה. אדמה cannot be kadosh. And הקדוש ברוך הוא, after the sneh, after a few hours, won't be here, so it won't be kadosh. Moshe Rabbeinu would be able to step on it and to walk there. So what does it mean? של נעליך מעל רגליך, כי המקום אשר אתה עומד עליו, אדמת קודש הוא. The Kedusha means that it's unique, that is meyuchad, that is mukdash, sacred, sanct to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Meaning to say that now it went out of your realm, of your world, of human being that you can sell, that you can work, that you can deal with. It just belongs to another sphere of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In this sphere, you have two ways. You know, Rodolph Otto wrote about the Kedusha, and he writes that any Kedusha has double meaning. First of all, that I know that it doesn't belong to my world. I have an awe, kavod, yirah. I'm afraid of it because I feel Moshe stands in front of the sneh in the stands, that something, there is an Ashrat Shechina here, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu took the place, and it's now under the HaKadosh Baruch Hu realm, under HaKadosh Baruch Hu musagim, and it doesn't belong to my world anymore. It belongs to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's far-fetched from me. It's mufka from me. Okay? That's one attitude towards Kedusha. So it's an awe, and it's to be far away from, and that's it. But the second step, says Rudolf Otto, is that the awe calls you. Somehow you feel the awe, and you have a temptation to try it, to see it, to be close to it. So this Ratzov Hashov of Kedusha we have all the time. At first, it must be far-fetched from my world. It becomes to an heavenly world of HaKadosh Baruch Hu with all the musagim and that we have there. But secondly, lately, we have an exclusion from the person, but the person tries to find himself in it. And therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu, at the beginning, he is yareh, he is afraid of looking. Later on, he comes to check. Okay, so the same thing happens here. The first guest, as I said, he is a guest who brings HaKadosh Baruch Hu a present. Therefore, it's Kodesh Kodoshim. It doesn't belong to me anymore. The animal is yours. It's your present. You can do with it whatever you want to eat it, let's say. The second one, as I mentioned in Parashat Shlamim, we don't see Kodesh here. And the second one is just the guest who comes and brings you a bottle. He brings it. He let you share. That's why he brings it. Asher yakriv, zevach korbanoim, al todah yakrivenu. He does it. He does it. He does it. He has his own part in it. And he lets HaKadosh Baruch Hu participate in eating the Korban. Therefore, there are some dinim that you can do it just in 2 days. You cannot eat it whenever you want, but it belongs to you. The Torah, it's Lemaise, Kodashim, Shlamim is Kodashim Kalim. Okay, I don't want to say that Shlamim doesn't have Kedusha. It has less Kedusha than Kodashim, but it's still Kodashim Kalim. But I just say that according to what's written in Parashat Tzav, Shlamim is Keilu non-Kodshim at all. It's Keilu just my own share that I do with Kadosh Baruch Hu. כן? שמואל דוד לוצאטו, שד"ל, said that Kadosh means an abbreviation of Kad Esh. Kad mean Yakod, burnt. Yakod. האש יוקדת. Okay? It's burning. Esh means fire. So he says that the very word of Kedusha, Kadosh, comes from the Korbanot, from the basar, the flesh of the Korban, that it's been burnt, and therefore is Kadosh. But basically, without Shadal, we'll think that Kedusha, the source of Kedusha is not from Korbanot. Korbanot is just another way of Kedusha. Okay? But just, it's very choshev not to the shiur, but basically know the definition. When the Nazir is Kadosh, it doesn't say that he has Isurim of cutting his hair and drinking wine, and therefore he's Kadosh. No, it's on the contrary, it's afuch. Firstly, he devotes himself to the divine behavior. He behaves like a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore he has Kedusha, because he is far-fetched from human beings. Therefore, he has some Isurim. Okay, so it's the first step is to be Kodesh. The second one is to have some destiny, and therefore you have some Isurim. Okay. Now we've understood what's the difference between Shlamim and the difference between the other Kodshim. The other Kodshim, you bring because you owe Kadosh Baruch Hu, you bring him a present. That's why it's Kodesh Kodoshim. With the Shlamim, you bring your own battle and you share it with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Therefore, it's very, very human being dik. Okay? That's why we have ויקריב על זבח התודה חלות מצות מלולות בשמן, ורקיקי מצות משוחים בשמן, וסולת מורבכת חלות מלולות בשמן, על חלות לחם חמץ יקריב קורבנו. The Gemara understands that there are four kinds. Here one, here one, here one, and here one. Okay, you have four types. But you have a very unexceptional something that you don't find in other korbanot. Usually the mizbeach doesn't eat chametz. You cannot bring chametz למזבח בכלל. אסור. Here you have lechem chametz, and not only that it's one of the four, meaning that a quarter of the chalot you bring, according to Chazal, 40 chalot, so 10 of them are chametz, but the quantity is half. The Gemara, the Mishnah says that we have 20 isaron, 10 to the chametz and 10 to the matzot, whereas the matzot, 10 isaron, is divided into 3 groups, and the chametz, 10 isronot, is divided just into 1 group. So it says that the chametz has its koach, is nefach, is volume, mamash like the matzot. And just as mentioned before, if you see the role of the person in Korban Shlamim as magnified, as Asher Yakriv, as sharing his battle with Kodesh Baruch Hu, it's not surprising if the first kind of Shlamim, Imal Todah, a person that brings the Kadosh Baruch Hu in order to thank or in order to make a confession, we can translate the word Todah either like thanking, as the Gemara says, ארבעה צריכים להודות, מי שיצא מבית האסורים, מי שהיה חולה ונתרפא, etc. That nowadays we know that they say agomel, but basically they brought a korban of Todah. But also it might be interpreted like confession, okay? That I confess that I cannot be alone, I need you. But still, I am confessing. It's my confession. And that's why I bring the bottle. Just let you share. And my role is magnified. Therefore, even if your role is 3/4 of it, you have chalot, 3 different kinds of chalot. They're all just matzot, 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 because you cannot bring into the mikdash chametz, but chametz, mine, even if it's just a quarter, it's the 4th kind is chalat lechem chametz. I'll bring you chametz because I bring a human part, and the volume and the quantity would be the same because my share is like your Kadosh Baruch Hu share. Even though that I just bring 1 of 4, but in quantity it will be like 1 of 2. Just to end, there is a famous Natziv on Korban Todah that basically he takes his words from the Abarbanel. They both say that Korban Todah is a very is a very interesting kind of Korban Shlemim, because we saw that Korban Shlemim basically is 2 days and 1 night, but Korban Todah is 1 day and 1 night. Okay? בזה בשר זבח תודעת שלמיו, ביום קורבנו יאכל, או יניח ממנו עד בוקר. So you have to finish it just in 1 day. And they both write that the Torah wanted a person that comes with something to thank, not to be the only one who eats. Okay? Let's say that I'm very hungry and I'm very, very fat. I like flesh, mamash. But if I have just 1 day to eat, it's not enough. And that's why I don't want to bring the Korban into a noita. And therefore, I'll bring friends. I'll invite other people. And it will be more people sharing with me. And then what would I do with them? They'll come and ask me, why do you give me basar? So I'll tell them, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu Hoshia oti, I was sick, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu Baruch Hashem helped me, etc. And therefore, I'll thank Hashem in public. So that's Natziv says, and so the Abarbanel, that's the reason why the Torah shortened the time of Todah from 2 days and 1 night to 1 day and 1 night. Okay? So we see something very interesting, because as we saw, Korban Shlemim is based on the human being part. That's why he brings his battle and lets HaKadosh Baruch Hu just share with him. But in Korban Todah, it's Ke'ilu aninu mul HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay? I want to thank him, and now I'm going to bring him a Korban. But the Torah says no. Even with Korban Todah is not just you against HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's all the humanity in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bring as more people as you can. I'll give you just 1 day to eat. You should not be alone. You should never thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu by yourself. Thank as a society, because you understand that in all the need of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the need on which you thank, you would ever need HaKadosh Baruch Hu as a society. It's not a miracle being done just to you as a person. It's a miracle being done to the society, to the Jewish people. And that's why you have to bring more and more and more people. So now we see that Korban Todah is double Korban Shlemim. From the one hand is Korban Shlemim, and Korban Shlemim, you bring your own battle, you share with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. You stress out your own part. But in Korban Todah, you do it double. Not only that I stressed out my own part, I stress out all the people. I'll bring a lot of people, and they'll all eat. They'll all thank Hashem. But I'll have not just one person, I'll have as many as I can. And we'll all thank Hashem. Thank you. Zat Hashem, next week we'll meet.